Hello and welcome to the CT Inspired Workshop. Start your engines. We're going to be discussing school-based enterprise experiences today. I'm Lucas Nagar with Westminster High School in Westminster, Colorado.
And I'm Heather Crabtree, also with Westminster High School.
First off, we're going to talk a little bit about what a school-based enterprise is. A school-based enterprise is just another example or another avenue for us to deliver work-based learning to students. And a school-based enterprise happens within the classroom. It's like a small business within the classroom is basically what we're discussing here. Colorado CT's definition, work-based learning is a continuum of activities that occur in part or in whole in the workplace, providing the learner with hands-on real-world experience. It combines skill development with training opportunities and is a key strategy for Colorado for developing talent and preparing Coloradans for the workplace and evolving labor market. So what was really important for us to think about school-based enterprises in the realm of how do we create a workplace where we can provide students with hands-on real-world experience in a classroom, and then we can use that to help develop our students and prepare them to enter the workforce.
So when we discuss school-based enterprises at Westminster, or Westy as we refer to it, we first started with a few goals. The first one being that we really wanted our students to interact with industry professionals while they were developing this school-based enterprise, this small business within our classroom setting. And then the other thing is that they were utilizing the technical skills that we were teaching within the classroom in a hands-on way to operate this enterprise that then gave the community a public product, something that the community could be involved in as well. In the spring, we run the lawnmower clinic in conjunction with our plant sale. Our greenhouse students also do vegetable production throughout the year for our culinary arts program that then in turn uses the vegetables that the students are producing in the greenhouse on their student run food truck. Our landscape class does design and installation for other schools within our district. The floral class does floral arrangements not only for the teachers and administration in the building, but also the large graduation flowers, as well as we have done a few weddings and things within the community. And then the last one that we'll talk about is going to be the dog wash that we started implementing and planning this year, and we'll just continue to grow throughout the next couple of years.
First of all, we're going to talk about career readiness and skill development. What we focused on was our ability to do this and fully execute it within the classroom. So school-based enterprise allows us to deliver 100% of this within the classroom environment where all the kids are already in front of us. This also allows them to learn hands-on, so learn those technical skills hands-on, but while they're directly in front of an instructor or a teacher that they're familiar with and comfortable with. So it allows them to make mistakes. It allows us to address those mistakes and allows them to learn in that environment where they're comfortable, and it's comfortable for all students in that environment. Another key thing is that career exploration piece. We want them to learn about different opportunities and careers within there, but we want to make sure that they're getting a very well-rounded understanding of what the opportunities are and how they can enter those. So it allows students to explore these different careers, these different avenues, these different opportunities for themselves in a very low stress environment, once again, supported by teachers.
This gives our community an insight into what we're doing in our program. And that's really important when you need community buy-in, whether that's support in general, whether you just need the community to back what you're doing, or whether you're asking for funding for some sort of program, whether it's through a mill levy or a tax increase or whatever that is. The community is more apt to go ahead and okay those things if they have a buy-in to what you're doing within the classroom, if they know that what you're doing is directly supporting that what we're teaching, these students can then take these skills and then go right into the community and give back to the community. And the last thing is that this enables us to get a high level of student impact within a period of time. So we had 100% of our students where there were school-based enterprises ran within those classes involved. So there wasn't a single kid within the class who wasn't involved in some capacity of running this school-based enterprise in those classes that we were running them in. And then over 50% of our second year and above students we're involved in some sort of school-based enterprise. We're developing these skills and we're developing resume builders and we're giving these students an opportunity.
Talking a little bit here about planning a school-based enterprise. So the first step is really kind of identifying a need or identifying a public product that you can deliver. And this may be, what do the students need? And maybe what does a community need? So our community probably didn't need more lawnmower repair shops in the community, but absolutely our students needed an opportunity to learn about the structure of a repair shop or the structure of an automotive or a diesel mechanic shop and how they operate. Secondly, we've got to identify, or we've got to kind of hook the students, right? We got to get student buy-in in this so they're committed to it, so they're involved in it, they're invested, and then they're going to work towards it. When it comes to lawnmower clinic, there's a little bit of simplicity in the buy-in that says, hey, come second semester, we're going to spend 6 weeks just working on lawnmowers and turning wrenches and having a good time in here. And we're not going to spend so much time learning about the content in the books. We worked with our VCA, so our Video Cinema Arts department, to kind of do some skill-based videos. And we'll show you one here of Eduardo, one of our lead technicians that we performed this year, that we're going to use in the future to kind of get the students excited about what's going on.
Hello, I'm Eduardo Estrada, the lead technician with the Westminster High School Engine Technology Program, and today I'm going to show you how to change the spark plug in your lawnmower. First step, locate your spark plug at the front of the lawnmower. Second, disconnect the spark plug, then remove the spark plug using a spark plug socket and ratchet. Adjust the gap on the new plug according to the owner's manual. Install the new spark plug using a spark plug socket and ratchet. Finally, tighten the spark plug with a torque wrench to the manual's specifications. Then we'll look for that click. If you follow these steps and take care of your equipment, it will take care of your lawn for years to come.
The third step we're going to talk about in our planning phase is finding industry support and finding industry partners for your program. We use industry partners as mentors for specific students, mentors for specific roles within the program. So maybe that's a mentor for your lead technician, maybe that's a mentor for your operations manager, or a mentor for your marketing manager of the school-based enterprise. We're also going to look for some guest speakers that can talk about specific content or specific concepts with the students. This year we did it all via Zoom, and it worked great. It helped the kids kind of learn a little bit more professionalism on Zoom, and it also helped them interact with a large number of industry partners that could discuss very specific topics to what they needed. And thirdly, we're going to need suppliers or industry partners that we're specifically going to work with. If we talk about the lawnmower clinic, we had to purchase, spark plugs and air filters and oil and that kind of stuff. We had to look up specific parts, numbers, and then call in and place those orders. So I needed to look for a supplier that would be open and willing to work with my students and help kind of guide them through that process. And not just that process of how do we look up a part number and identify what the correct part for this is, but how do they make that phone call to order that part? What information they need to have prepared? How are we going to purchase it? How do we keep the catalog of our purchases and the equipment that it goes on, and keep our part numbers organized? And someone that can help them kind of facilitate through that process, and then we'll work with them consistently every time they need to purchase or place orders.
We ultimately have to tie this back into a standard or a competency set by the district or by the state. When we decided that we were going to implement a dog wash, I couldn't just go to the district and say, hey, we want to start a dog wash. I had to explain to them how the students were going to learn, how this was going to impact their high school growth plan. And so we talked about the standards and the competencies that were tied into these projects. And it's really important to make sure that your administration understands how and where this learning is going to happen. It ties back into those standards and competencies of animal handling and animal care and animal safety. And so we were able to show the district what we were doing within our school-based enterprises that were then gonna impact the students and their learning process.
There's two separate phases in the students executing this school-based enterprise. As a teacher, we've done our planning and we know what we're going to do. We've got our partners, we've got our Zooms lined up. We've got our competencies, our learning targets, our standards aligned. We've talked to our administration about it. So now I turn over to the students and we connect them with those industry partners. And we allow their discussion with industry partners, the students to then identify the structure of the business that they want to run and the roles and the responsibilities that they're going to fulfill within that structure. It's going to help the students guide to make some smart and educated decisions, some valuable decisions on what roles do they need and what are those responsibilities they're going to fill. Lastly, our next in line, we allow the students, once they've kind of started, okay, so they've started to define their roles. What is each one of them going to be responsible, or what role do we need filled, and what are the responsibilities of that role? We then allow the students to collectively determine those roles for themselves based on their strengths and weaknesses. So this is where we're starting to kind of build those soft skills, and we're starting to kind of allow those students to think about what is important in a person in a different position, and what are the strengths that different positions need. In our engine tech class, so we teach an agricultural engine technology class where the lawnmower clinic is run out of, and we offer a industry credential from EETC, Equipment and Engine Training Council, that the students can receive within that course. And we then start discussing, so which position is important to have this credential in. Specifically this year, the students identified that their lead technicians and their operations manager within the lawnmower clinic needed to be certified. So we only accepted applications for those positions of students who had passed the certification. And that helped us really kind of reinforce the importance of certifications, helped us reinforce the importance of learning those technical skills, and helped us reinforce the importance of picking the correct person in the right position. The students then, they have to collectively decide on who gets what role. There's a lot of different ways we could probably do this. Specifically for us, we allow them to complete an application, submit a resume, and then we do a little interview process as well. So as a teacher, I go in and select the hiring committee for each individual position based on student interest. So that a student interested in being the operations manager is not on their the operations manager hiring committee. And then we have students fill out resumes, apply, and then interview for those positions, and ultimately kind of come to a consensus about who should be in what role. Lastly, once we've kind of identified all those roles, we've got everybody lined out, now everybody has a position, we start to identify position-specific accountables that those students will be responsible for prior to and leading up to the actual execution of the event. It takes us about a month to go through it. I mean, when we don't do it nonstop every day, but there's a lot of, hey, applications are due on this day, we're going to interview on this day, and giving the students the opportunity to go through that process. And it's a lot of fun to see them kind of start to develop those soft skills here.
After they've interviewed for and they've been selected for those positions, and those positions begin to develop and deliver their accountables. They make their checklists, obviously with guidance from their teachers, but what are you as a lead technician responsible for? What are you as the communications manager responsible for? Those students develop and deliver those accountables. And again, that just allows for more buy-in. It's something that they've determined is important, and they're more apt to do it. And then students perform these responsibilities during the operation. So we really try and take a mentor approach and a very hands-off approach to this. As teachers, we're not the ones communicating with the community members. An email comes in, the communications manager student is in charge of responding to those emails. Students are in charge of greeting customers at the gate, answering any questions, doing the service records, doing everything from start to finish. So students are really responsible for performing these operations. Just as they're responsible for working with our business and marketing program to develop marketing materials. They're responsible for making sure that the public product is something that they're happy to have the community see, and that they're proud of. Outcomes
of school-based enterprises. So we've got two different categories of outcomes, our indicators of workforce readiness that are kind of, that's the thing we all talk about in the big picture, right? And then we've got these little bonus things that we think we get as well along the way. The students are able to demonstrate the technical skills that they learn throughout the course of the year. So we teach technical skills early in the year, right? First semester, we go through technical skills. And then when the school-based enterprise rolls around, they're then expressing their knowledge of those technical skills and their ability to utilize those technical skills to then achieve a result. Resume development, it's not just resume, it's the full spectrum of going through the process of applying for a position, interviewing for a position, filling out an application, developing a resume that is targeted to a position based on what they have done previously. And then they can take that and they've had that experience. And then through the school-based enterprise, even after that, they can add more to that resume and have more of an ability to have a conversation about what they have done. And when they apply to a position in the real world, they apply for a summer job or a job after they graduate, they've got a built resume that they have utilized before that's for a targeted industry. They've put things on it that they can physically talk about, have a discussion about how they have worked prior, even if it was in the classroom. And that's really important for our students to be able to communicate that to our industry professionals and when they're applying for jobs.
And then the other thing we have is what we call this bonus category. And so when we talk to our industry partners, and I'm sure if you've talked to industry partners, you've run into this as well. You ask them, what's the main thing you want us to make sure our kids come out of high school with, ready for the workforce? And it's always soft skill development. It's hardly ever a technical skill because those industry professionals will teach our students that. But it's the soft skills. It's the being able to respond to emails. It's the communication of somebody who's not within their peer group. It's things like showing up to work on time, knowing that your team members are counting on you to be there. So we really get to hone in on some of these soft skill developments that we don't necessarily teach when we teach the technical content. The other thing, and I don't think we can say this enough, is this community engagement and getting the community to buy into and support your program. And this is just a great way to do it. It instills a sense of pride in the community as well. If they can buy plants from your greenhouse, or they can bring their lawnmower in and know that a student is the one who got that ready for spring. It just really helps in creating this community within your school and the surrounding your school. And then the last thing is the graduation requirement. So in Colorado, as I'm sure there are in lots of other states, there are some graduation requirements, and these are new things that are rolling out this year for our students. They either have to have a certain score on the SAT, they have to score a certain way on the ASVAB, the military test, or they have to have an industry certified credential. Our students can find another avenue to hit those graduation requirements of something that they may see as more relevant to them. So we're able to offer those credentials through our classrooms, through ICEV, that they can hit those graduation requirements and have this credential to head into the workforce. So a couple of things that we like to do when we finish up is that we really want to reflect on our SBEs. You know, if we do these school-based enterprises every year and we run these programs, but we never take time to reflect and kind of grow, we get stagnant and we may need to change some things, and that doesn't happen. First thing is we do a couple of follow-up surveys. One we do with the community. So when we do the plant sale, after people have come to pick up their plants, we collect their email addresses and we send them an email just asking, you know, how was your experience? How was the students you worked with? Did you enjoy our selection? Are there things you'd like to see next year that maybe you didn't see this year? So that gives us a way to know what the community is thinking and kind of adjust and change as we go. And then the other thing is we really like to get our administration's feedback. Do you see this as beneficial for our district or for our school or for our students? Are you still willing to support this? You know, when you lose your administration support, it's really hard to do things. So we want to make sure that we know where they stand on our school-based enterprises. The other thing is we do student recaps of learning, and this is not only important so that we know what the students are thinking, but also so that they realize that there's a relevancy to what they've learned, there's a relevancy to what they've done, and then they reflect on how they've learned and what they've learned, and how they can take that forward in their future. And then we take the notes for that and we apply it to the next year. We keep what worked. We leave what didn't. We don't hold on to things just because we as teachers thought that they would be a great thing. And then, you know, we talk to our community, we talk to our students, we talk to our administrators, and it really wasn't a great thing. And so we're ever evolving and ever changing these school-based enterprises. So while we've got the foundations, they're not the same from year to year. And that really just helps everybody who's involved get a better experience out of it. So that kind of wraps up our workshop on school-based enterprises and how you can maybe hopefully take this and help implement them into your programs. So we want to say thank you for your time. We really appreciate it. And we would love to take any questions you may have. So thank you guys.